For all your nurses and caregivers out there, this one is for you. We see the incredible, often draining work you do, and we also know the immense pressure you're under. So today we're going to dive into something called the YogaNurse Anti-Doom Scroll Protocol. Think of it as a practical toolkit for protecting your most valuable asset, your mind. Okay, picture this. It's the end of a long, really demanding shift. You're just wiped. But your mind is still going a million miles an hour. You pick up your phone just for a minute to unwind, right? And then, bam, an hour is gone. You've been sucked into this endless feed of bad news, stressful updates, and just overwhelming information. Sound familiar? Well, this thing, it's not just some quirky habit. It actually has a name: doom scrolling. And yeah, it's a real, recognized phenomenon. It's that compulsive feeling, that need to just keep scrolling through all the negative stuff, even when you know it's making you feel worse. It's kind of our brain's weird attempt to get a handle on a chaotic world, but it usually backfires. Now, this slide right here is so important. This is the critical reframe. It's incredibly easy to beat yourself up about this, to think, oh, I just need more willpower. But what's really going on is a biological stress response. Let me say that again. It is not a personal failure. It's your nervous system trying to cope. And if you're a nurse, this is especially true. Your entire professional training literally gears your nervous system for hypervigilance. You're conditioned to scan for danger, to anticipate what could go wrong, to be ready for anything at any moment. So when you get home, that scanner doesn't just switch off. It just finds a new target. And that target is usually your phone. And here's the problem. Instead of helping you wind down, this habit actually keeps your brain in that high alert state. And this chart shows the cost really clearly. It actively messes with the essential recovery your brain needs. It absolutely hammers your sleep. But it also chips away at your memory, your focus, and your ability to just regulate your emotions. So if you've been trying to fight this with just pure grit, with sheer force of will, and you're finding it's not working, there is a very good reason. Trying to will your way out of a biological stress response is kind of like trying to shout at a fire to go out. It's the wrong tool for the job. And that brings us to a totally different approach. The solution, what YogaNurse calls it, is nervous system leadership. It's about working with your biology instead of fighting against it. It's about gently guiding your nervous system back to a feeling of safety and rest, instead of trying to force it there. And that is where this protocol comes in. I want you to think of this as your personal toolkit, filled with really simple, practical strategies that are designed specifically for the high-stress world of caregiving. So the whole protocol is built on these 4 core pillars: protecting your attention, using sacred breath, sacred movement, and finally, sacred rest. These are all about reclaiming your well-being. Let's dive into that first one. Okay, pillar 1 is all about your attention. See, doom scrolling is this automatic, compulsive loop, and the key isn't to fight it with force, but to simply interrupt that loop by creating a little bit of intentional, gentle friction. And here are a few incredibly simple but really effective ways to do that. Just the act of naming it, like literally saying out loud, "Oh, I'm doom scrolling right now," that can be enough to break the trance. Hiding apps in a folder or logging out every day forces you to take a pause. And my personal favorite here, turning on grayscale. It makes the screen way less stimulating and cuts down on those little dopamine hits that keep you hooked. Pillar 2 is sacred breath. This is your most direct, most portable tool for basically speaking the language of your own nervous system. You can literally change your physiological state in a matter of moments just by changing the way you breathe. A fantastic science-backed technique is something called the physiological sigh. It's simple: 2 quick inhales through your nose and then 1 long, slow exhale through your mouth. That double inhale actually helps pop open these tiny little air sacs in your lungs, and the long exhale, that activates the calming rest and digest part of your nervous system. You should try it right now. 2 quick sniffs in, 1 long sigh out. It's like an immediate reset button. All right, next up, pillar 3, sacred movement. Our bodies just weren't designed to process stress while sitting still. Movement is absolutely essential for metabolizing all those stress hormones and for supporting critical brain functions like your memory and your mood. Now, the general recommendation is about 150 minutes of movement a week. And I know that can sound like a lot, especially with your schedule, but the key is you don't have to do it all at once. You can break it down into tiny, manageable chunks: a 10-minute walk after a really stressful phone call, or just taking the stairs. It all adds up and it all supports your brain.
And this just shows how accessible movement can be. The seated 7 is a whole sequence you can do right in your chair, maybe during a quick break. It's all about bringing gentle, mindful movement into your day to release that physical tension. And you don't need a yoga mat or a gym membership. And that brings us to our final pillar, number 4, sacred rest. You guys, this is completely non-negotiable for your brain health. Real rest and quality sleep, that's when your brain actually does its housekeeping. It's when it cleans out toxins, consolidates memories, and genuinely recovers from the day. So protecting that rest means creating a deliberate wind-down routine. This timeline here gives you a super simple blueprint. Dimming the lights signals to your brain that it's time to make melatonin. Putting those bright screens away reduces stimulation. And then making sure your room is dark, quiet, and cool. That's the optimal environment for deep, restorative sleep. So as we wrap up, I want you to just take in the message on this slide. Just let it sink in for a second. After everything you see and everything you do in a day, it is so easy to feel worn out, to feel depleted. But your brain is not broken. What's absolutely essential to remember is that your brain is doing exactly what it's designed to do. It's responding logically and predictably to an environment of constant stress and constant overstimulation. So the goal isn't to fix your brain, it's to change the inputs it's receiving. So, when you think about it, taking these small steps to protect your attention and regulate your nervous system, it isn't selfish. Not at all. It is a fundamental act of professional self-care. It's what allows you to keep showing up with the clarity, the presence, and the deep compassion that your work demands day in and day out. And that leaves us with one final question. It doesn't have to be some massive overhaul, okay? Just one small thing. Maybe it's moving one single app off your home screen. Maybe it's just taking 3 of those physiological sighs on your next break. So, how will you choose to protect your attention? And by extension, yourself today?